Coordinator of the United National Anti-War Committee, UNAC, and a state worker. Please welcome Joe.
Hello, thank you for being here. It is only through your presence and your fight back that you will win. Nobody's going to do it for you. So I'm glad to see you out here. This summer in Albany, 800 people came together for a national anti-war conference. Students from Berkeley, California came and said there are budget cuts and attacks on education going on in California and all across the country. So we are going to have in early October rallies across the country. And we'd like the anti-war movement to endorse and co-sponsor these rallies. And we said, yes, of course we will, because it's all one fight. And so today there were rallies like this taking place all across the country. But today is not just a day in which there's rallies for education and against the cuts that are taking place all across the country and here in Albany. It is also the 9th anniversary of the invasion, the start of the 10th year of the invasion of Iraq, the invasion and occupation, which makes it the longest war in U.S. history, longer than Vietnam, longer than World War II and World War I. And we are draining trillions of dollars for this war that should be going to education, to jobs, and to other human needs. Besides being an anti-war activist, I'm a New York State worker. I'm a unionist. I'm a member of CSEA, and I represent my local on the Troy Area Labor Council. We are losing jobs. We have had attacks, and we've basically lost our pension fund to what they call a Tier 5. We are being threatened with furloughs. We are being threatened with layoffs. Because they say that we have a $9 billion deficit in our budget. Well, let me tell you a couple of things. New York State's contribution to the war budget for this coming fiscal year will be $15 billion. So do we really have a deficit, or was there a choice made to fight an illegal and immoral and unjust war instead of supporting education? When you buy a shirt or anything in the county of Albany, you pay an 8% sales tax. But if you buy $100 million worth of stock, you are taxed at a rate of 0.25%. But they give all of that back. It is rebated. This year alone, that accounted for $16 billion in the state of New York. And we gave it back to the obscenely rich. So we don't have a deficit of $9 billion. We actually had a surplus of $7 billion. So to give money to the rich, they've decided to cut the Italian program. They've decided to cut the language programs, the theater programs, and other educational needs. The governor of New York State, the last governor, Pataki, once said, all people need is an 8th grade education. What he was talking about was you need to be able to read on the side of the box where the box is as you are loading it into a truck, because all they consider you are workers. You are only good for the money you can make for someone else. The only way to turn that around is to fight back, which is what you're doing right here and right now. On November 6th, the weekend after the election, hundreds of people will be going to New York City, where there will be a huge meeting to discuss how to fight back, how to fight against the war, how to fight against the attacks that have happened to anti-war leaders who have had their homes raided recently by FBI, to fight back against the Muslims who have been unjustly attacked, to fight back against the education cuts. I hope you'll join us. If you're more interested in that, I hope you'll come and talk to me. I really like this banner to the side. Money for jobs and education, not war and occupation. So join me in that chant. Money for jobs and education, not war and occupation. Thank you.